Now before you guys start commenting, legend, haven't you made a video like this before? Yes. Yes, I have. But I'm not satisfied with it. In that video I complained about how the stock mirrors looked and how the stock exhaust sounded, which are points that are not valid anymore since I changed my mirrors and my exhaust. And to be fair, complaining about the stock mirrors or stock windscreen isn't really a solid point. So I'm doing it again. But before we get into this video, I just want to let you guys know I am giving away a bike. I'm giving away a SkyTeam PBR that I'm building myself. For more information, check the link in the description. Yo guys, my name is Legend and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we are recording the second version of 5 things I hate about my Yamaha R125. Let's jump right into it. Number 1, the fuel cap. If you saw my recent videos, you know I had a little fight with my fuel cap because water and dirt gets trapped underneath the little flap that's ironically designed to protect it from water and dirt, but it gets under there into the lock, jamming it. To the point I've actually been stranded somewhere. I was fueling up my bike and when I went and put the fuel cap back into the tank, my key was stuck. To the point I was afraid I was gonna break it by pulling on it any harder. Now a little bit of graphite lube fixes this in 5 seconds, but throughout owning this bike I've had to do that 3 times now, so it's definitely worth mentioning. Number 2, the stock tires. Stock, the R125 comes with Michelins, which aren't bad, but aren't great either. In dry conditions, when the tires are fully warmed up, they perform great. But I found they underperformed a bit in wet conditions. I switched to Bridgestone S20 Evos, and it was a world of difference, even in wet conditions. Definitely a must-have mod. Number 3, the windscreen mount. Not the windscreen itself, but the way it bolts to your bike. It uses these little rubber grommets which you put a screw through, tighten it, and the little rubber expands, causing the windscreen to get stuck. Which is great. It works great except for the bottom 2 mounts. The rubber is just such a pain in the ass to get into the little hole in your fairings that I just didn't bother putting them in. I fought around with it for like half an hour and I gave up. So the bottom 2 screws are just held in by sheer magic because I just couldn't be bothered to get those rubbers in there. They're just a pain in the ass. Number 4, the neutral switch. As you guys might know, I've owned 2 Yamaha R125s. One is my black one, which I bought back in 2017, and then a 2014 model which I had as a project bike. Now the neutral switch sits next to your front sprocket, and I've had to replace that neutral switch on both bikes. Apparently it's a common issue with these bikes that the neutral switch goes bad. I first noticed it while I was sitting at a red light and my neutral light would flicker on and off. And even sometimes it would be completely off while I was in neutral. I just mentioned this while I took my bike in to get its regular maintenance, and my mechanic said, oh yeah, it's a common problem. Easy fix, cheap fix. I think it was like 20 bucks, but it's definitely a weak spot on these bikes. Apparently this has been fixed on the newer 2019 and 2020 model. But if you are looking to buy an older model or have an older model, it's definitely worth knowing. Number 5, having to take off the fairings to change the oil. The oil drain plug is kind of in a bad spot. I mean, it's in the regular spot where it is on every bike. It's just a pain in the ass because the fairings are in the way. Now on a bigger bike this isn't as much of a problem because the maintenance intervals are way longer, but on the R125 you have to change the oil every 3000 kilometers, which means having to take off the lower part of the fairings every 3000 kilometers, which can get pretty tedious after a while. It's not really that I hate it that much, but it's just a little bit tedious, so I put it on this list. Number 6, or an honorable mention if you will, is selling it. I really hate that I have to sell my bike, but it's time to move on to something else. You could argue that I don't really have to sell it, which is true, but after 3 years of owning this bike, it's time to move on. I've had a blast on this bike, probably the best A1 bike I could have chosen, and I'm definitely gonna miss it. Making this list was pretty hard. It was actually really hard finding 5 things I really hated without choosing cheap points like stock mirrors or stock windscreen. Finding 5 genuine things I disliked about this bike was not easy. It's a solid bike for the A1 license. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like. If you want to see more, please subscribe, and I will see you guys next time.